Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to week 5, Selling into Different Markets. And we're really happy to have you on tonight. This is Colette DePhelps, and I'm facilitating tonight's webinar. We have 3 great speakers today. This is, I think, one of the funnest, most fun, I don't think funnest is actually a word, but most fun webinars that we do in this class, and we're going to be talking about selling into different markets. So Stan is joining us again from Riley Creek Blueberry Farm. Tony Carey is joining us from Priest River. She's with Four Seasons Farms. And Diane Green is joining us again from Sandpoint. Cinda is running the slideshow in the background, and again, I'm facilitating the questions and answers. So for your webinar tips, please close all the other programs running on your computer and check your sound. If you're running into problems with clarity and speed, we encourage you to switch to the phone and then to mute your computer sound when you're using the phone. And if you have questions, please type them into the question box during the presentations if you can. That will facilitate our question and answer period. We have a lot of great information to cover, and so we want to be on top of everything for those Q&A sessions. So we're going to go ahead and start with an introduction from Diane Green.
Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so pleased to be a part of the funnest and most fun session of our webinar. Marketing is one of the things that I really have a passion about, and that's a good thing, and I'm hopeful that as you work through your farm plan and all the things that you're doing, that you really start focusing a lot on the marketing end of it. One of the things, I just want to do a brief introduction here with the thought of just to remind you how important it is for today's small acreage farm to succeed. We have a very competitive market, and it's getting more competitive all the time, and with that, for us to continue to be successful with what we're doing, every farmer needs to assess the opportunity of the land, plan the crop, grow it, and then be able to sell it. And we have to do this every single year. We reassess and reevaluate, and we'll be talking more about that next week. But marketing is one of the most important keys to success, and often the toughest part of survival of the sustainability of the family farm. And selling into different markets is crucial to maintain market diversity. Today we have 2 farmer guests who are going to share some of their market multiplicity with you, and I'm really pleased that Stan was able to come back with us, because even though he's growing one crop, blueberries, he's very diversified with how he markets those. And for Tony Carey, we asked Tony to come, and she's a local farmer, and we sell at the farmers market with our vendor stands nearby. And Tony does a diversified livestock as well as produce, so they both will have a lot to share, and I'm very pleased to introduce Stan. Go ahead and go to the next slide. And Stan's going to tell us about all the different marketing techniques that he uses with his blueberries. Welcome back, Stan.
Thanks, Diane, and thanks everybody for, I hope you're still paying attention. Maybe you turned it off, I don't know. So it's supposed to be entertaining. I didn't write that down. Marketing, as I mentioned last week, there's basically 3. Having a good product, of course, is your number one goal. If you don't have a good product out there, it's very difficult to market something that's not sellable. So just in a quick review, you've got to create a good product, grow a good product, raise a good product, and I just want to reiterate that as probably the most important issue that's going on. And then last week I mentioned also that having a good business plan is just as important. Well, part of that business plan should be your marketing scheme. Once you have established that this farm will work and this is how I want to make it work, you've got to decide and determine where can you sell this really good product. If you remember the example I gave you last year, the farmers market people that I run into over the years that grow tremendous produce, but don't have a great business plan or marketing plan, they're in a little bit of trouble. So marketing is just as important as the other 3 things. the number one question that you have to ask yourself is, why would someone want to buy from your farm? I mean, there's a lot of choices out there, with the number one choice being, at least for us in the food business, is your supermarkets. I don't know what the exact statistics are any longer, but I know a few years ago, it's something like 92% of all food that people buy they're buying from the big grocery chain stores. That's where the customers are. So you have to find some way to get them out of that store and either into your farm or out to the farmer's market to buy your product. Once you've got them away from the store, then you've got to realize that there's competition out there in the same product that you're growing. Again, answering the question, why are you going to buy it from our farm? One of the things that we established very, very early on, and this is all the way back to 20 years ago, is that I try to build a relationship with our customers. As we've gotten bigger, it's a little more difficult, but people, they're not only buying blueberries, but they're buying blueberries from Riley Creek Farm. They're buying blueberries from Riley Creek Farm, which is owned by Stan Ehrman. And even though I have my daughter and my wife and a lot of family members and other friends that work for us, it's still all about me, because I've established myself as the owner, and I've basically sold myself. I'm not trying to sound conceited here, but the point being is that I've sold myself to the community that we sell our product to. And they know that I'm trustworthy. They know that I'm putting a good product out there. They know that I'm knowledgeable. At least they think that I am. And they know that they're going to get a good price from me. They know that if for some reason we don't put a good product out there, they get a bag of berries that don't meet up to their standards, they can bring it back to me and I'll give them another one. There's no questions asked. I never ask a question. Refunds are very easy at Riley Creek Blueberry Farm, and we can do that because we put a good product out there and we don't have to refund very many. We live in a very small community. Even when you think of all North Idaho and Eastern Washington, we don't have a large population area here. So if we didn't have repeat customers, we would soon be out of business. And again, that's with any business around here. Again, whether you're a plumber, electrician, or a restaurant owner, you've got to have repeat customers. If we lived in a highly populated area, you can afford to alienate customers because there's always new ones coming in the door. We don't get a lot of that. So so you got to rely on reliability of getting people back. Once again, everybody's situation, like when figuring your business plan, everybody's deal is a little bit different. We have basically 4 marketing schemes that we have that we're currently using. We haven't always used these, but we're currently using these. And I'm going to go through each one in a couple of minutes. But we have on-farm sales, which constitute about 40% of our sales each year. And that's you pick berries and pick berries. We have about 20% of our sales go to past customers that call me every year, or I call them, and every year they buy 100 gallons or 20 gallons or whatever. They're repeat customers. About 10% of our sales are at the local farmers markets. We are in 2 right now, sometimes 3, maybe 4. But we have about 10% of our sales at the local farmers markets. And then we've expanded in the last probably 10 years into the local stores. And we're about 30% of our sales right now into the local stores. Now again, each person's a little bit different. Your needs may be different than ours. For the on-farm sales, there's just a lot of things to take into consideration there. As I mentioned, our on-farm sales is our largest selling marketing area. It's at about 40%. I would love it to be at 100%, so we don't ever have to leave the farm. That's our marketing goal down the road. But it does create a problem. You've got to be willing to have people on your property. For us, that's not such a big problem because in our business, with the blueberry crop only being about 6 to 8 weeks long, we can tolerate people on our farm for that period of time as long as they're bringing money and leaving that money. We're okay with that. We have the pick and the you pick section. Our farm, and I really feel that this is really important, probably the most important part for us, is that our farm is open all daylight hours, 7 days a week once the season starts. When people call us and ask us, hey, when can we come out? You come out whenever you want. If you want to come out in the dark, bring your car and park your car and turn on the headlights, go ahead. Our philosophy there is that if someone drives out and you're not open, they're not going to come back. And if they don't come back, they're not going to leave you their money. So we are open. We made that decision from the very beginning. It's worked well for us, but it's not for everybody. You have to be willing to accept that the loss of possible income if you're only open on weekends, or from noon to 5 or something like that. So be aware that once people leave, if they pull in your driveway and see a close sign, they're probably not going to come back. The other issue with on-farm sales is you need to be easy to find. You need to be near a population area. We're in Laclede, which it's actually an ideal situation. It's kind of a no-name little town, but we're only about 15 minutes from Sandpoint, and we're only about an hour and a half from the populated area in the Spokane, Post Falls, Coeur d'Alene area. And the road is very nice to get here. We're only about a half a mile off the road. It's very easy to find. If you live out in the boonies where you got to, have a 10 minutes worth of directions to get to your house, that's going to make it very difficult for people to find your farm. They need to be able to find you. Again, if they can't find you within a few minutes, they're going to turn around and leave and spend their money somewhere else. Having people on your farm can create some issues. You need a wash station. You need restrooms. You've got to have supplies for the pickers when they come out. You've got to have buckets and bags and whatnot, which is not a bad deal, but it's an expense that you have to be ready for. We have a little farm, a little store on our farm. It's just a little 10 by 12 building. It has a cooler and a freezer in it. We keep picked berries in there and frozen berries. We sell our jams and syrups, some muffins, some frozen pies, and whatever else we happen to have in that we can put into our store. Every little bit creates a little bit of an income for us. The on-farm part of our business is very important to us. When they come out, they're out here for an experience. We have a lot of people that come out, a lot of older people that are retired. They can remember when they used to go to farms when they were kids and pick berries or do whatever. They enjoy coming out here, and it's a good experience for them, and they like it, and they'll come back and they'll tell their friends. So we make it as enjoyable for them as we can. We have very few rules. You want to bring a dog? That's okay, as long as it's on a leash or it's not clean up after it, as long as it's not going to bite anybody. You want to bring your kids? You bet. Bring all the kids. We don't have a lot of rules per se. The other issue is liability. We have people, there's days when we have 200 to 300 people walking around our farm on some of our very busiest days. It's crazy. Parking is an issue. Liability insurance is something that we didn't have the first 4 or 5 years. We realized that was pretty silly not to do that, so we went to our local insurance agent, told them what we were trying to do, and now we're locked into a company that everything in our farm is insured through this one company, and we have liability for a couple $1 million worth of liability on any accidents that may occur on our farm. On our product, if someone eats a bad berry or eats some jam or something, we have liability that covers all those different things, and it's actually fairly inexpensive. Our farm liability, the liability part of it's less than $500 a year, and it's a very well spent $500 for us.